know, thinking maybe it's time I switch that song. I feel like I've heard it so many times already. Let me know what you guys think. Well, y'all are usually really nice, so I think you'll say that it's a good song. If I want to keep it, I can. But I don't know. I'm starting to feel like since I started to do like updates on stories that we covered in summer, maybe it would be a good idea to keep track of the stories that we're covering in fall and just kind of switch things up as the seasons change. Maybe. Who knows? I'll try. I think it's a great idea. I would love to have like some kind of fall theme. Even though where I live, we don't get fall or autumn. It stays very hot, and I'm pretty sure you've heard me say it before, but it's very hot and humid, and from what I understand, there's going to be a cold front or a cool front, which means to me that it's going to be cooler weather, but most importantly, less humidity. So that's going to make all the difference right there, and I'm very excited for it, and I'm willing to celebrate it. Hey Jinxie! We missed you yesterday. I came back yesterday and I tried to do like a typical live stream where I do updates and news stories and things like that, but yesterday my ear started to hurt a lot because I wear glasses, so like the ear part was getting like smushed in by my headphones. So maybe it's time to invest in some contact lenses so I don't have to be wearing my glasses. But it was starting to bug me a lot, so I had to cut it short. And I'm going to assume that that might happen again today, maybe not. But today we're going to take a look at the Vallow situation. I found a video that explained a lot of what's been going on. Hi Danielle, how you doing? So good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Sorry I haven't been keeping in touch too much. I worked today, but I got home and I decided that what I would do is try to like clean up around here, you know, like have equal parts attention to like work and then home and then myself and the dogs and stuff like that. I was kind of like gonna try to catch up with everybody and stuff, but I didn't. I ended up cleaning up, and I'm actually doing laundry right now, so in about an hour I'm gonna have to go get my clothes from the dryer and deal with that a little bit, but I'm thinking that by then we might be done. If not, then I will do something. I will play something for you all to watch. Let me go ahead and stop sharing the screen, and we're gonna go over to the playlist that I have set up for us. And this is going to be about the Vallow case. For any of you that are not familiar with it, this first clip we're going to watch is going to be like an overall look back at the case. So we should all be pretty much caught up after that. And then I also added the latest updates that have happened within the past maybe 6 weeks to a month, more or less. And the latest update was from 2 days ago, so we're definitely going to take a look at that. Jinxie says, okay, right, I need contact lenses as well. Glasses can be annoying. They can. I mean, I like that I can see clearly, but like at work, I kind of get annoyed by my glasses because I go into the fridge or the freezer, which is a walk-in fridge or walk-in freezer, and I come out where it's like hot and like all the stuff is cooking and my glasses just fog up and I can't see anything, and it just makes me wish that I had contact lenses. So that's probably going to be something I'll be doing hopefully soon. Gotta go to the eye doctor and get prescribed some contact lenses. So I don't know why this isn't updating, but okay. So let's go ahead and get started by watching the first clip. And like I said, it's an overview of the case that we're going to update on today. And then the next time that I go live, which could be tomorrow night, just depending on how everything goes at work, I'll try to go live, and you know, even if I have to do like a little bit at a time, maybe that's the key. Instead of, you know, taking long breaks and trying to catch up, maybe I could just go live even if it's late at night, you know, for an hour at least, and just kind of update on stuff, and then that way we can get caught up, and then we can start covering newer stories. So that's something I'm going to try to work on. And then, yes, wearing a mask causes it to fog up too. That's true, and that happens. So I'm wearing a mask, and then I have my glasses, and then I'm trying to talk to customers, and you can just see like where my glasses are fogging up from like the bottom. But I found that the key is to have the mask like kind of like higher up, and just don't have like a space between the mask and like your face right underneath your glasses. I don't know. That seems to work for me. Alright, so let's go ahead and watch this clip. It's 25 minutes long, so we're in it for the long haul. And it's called Original Episode, A Look Back at the Lori Vallow Case. And this was posted February 11, 2021. I did find another overview from the same news source, and I was watching it, and it was pretty much the same video as this one. So just because this isn't like a brand new clip, you know, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have all the information. It does have a lot of information, and like I said, we're going to be also covering the updates from lately. So we should be good as far as information goes in this case, because this is a really important case. I've been covering this since the beginning of this live stream, and we've been covering this over at Queen's Throne channel since long before that. So this case is very important to me, and that we see it all the way through. So let's go ahead and watch this clip. So remember, this is going to be basically like a timeline of the JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, two kids that went missing and turned up, passed away, buried. But yeah, let's watch this.
Joshua JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan were reported missing.
Tonight, a nationwide search for two missing children.
Their mother and stepfather are considered persons of interest.
It looks purposely like that. Don't adjust your screens or your TVs. I guess they did that for effect. So if you're kind of tripping out, it's okay.
In Idaho tonight, there could be a major break in the case of two missing children.
A search that captured the country's attention. Two children vanished, their mother offering no clues where they might be.
Lori, where are your kids? How come you're not telling anybody where your kids are?
Months go by, then a discovery we all feared.
Detectives and investigators have recovered what's believed to be human remains.
Now, as this once seemingly devoted mother sits behind bars, we tackle the big questions. Will Lori Vallow face charges in her children's deaths? Was her brother poisoned? Did she play a part in killing her ex-husband? Now, an in-depth look at a story full of twists and turns.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Morgan Lowe.
And I'm Kim Powell. Two missing children, family frantically searching for them, and a mother who won't answer any questions. Their case gripped the nation, many people wanting a simple answer. Where were JJ and Tylee?
This bizarre crime story reads like the script of a movie. A cult, missing children, dead spouses, and possibly murder. At the center of this case, teenager Tylee Ryan and her special needs brother, 7-year-old JJ Vallow. The story starts in a quiet Chandler neighborhood, a family fight, and shots fired.
911, where is your emergency?
July 11th, 2019.
You need police or paramedic?
Both.
Chandler police are responding to a 911 call.
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law now.
Okay, so for those of you that are not familiar with this case, I did mention that it revolves around two missing children that turned up, passed away. But there was so much more going on before that, so that's what this part is covering. So here, yeah, you see a police officer, body cam or whatever, approaching a situation, but it's not having to do with the children being missing. This is something that happened before that. But I just wanted to get that part there.
Shot him in self-defense.
A man named Alex Cox says he just shot his brother-in-law.
Yeah, there's blood. He's not moving.
When police arrive on scene,
Who else is in the house?
Alex comes out with his hands up and is told to sit on the curb.
I'm gonna have you have a seat right here.
Inside, Charles Vallow lies dead on the floor of the living room, a gunshot wound to the chest. Alex tells police it was a family fight.
There was a scuffle earlier. with my sister and my niece.
He says he was staying at his sister Lori Vallow's rental home.
And when he says his sister and his niece, his sister was Lori Vallow, and his niece that he's talking about is Tylee Ryan, and she was one of the missing children that turned up dead. I have a hard time with saying child death and putting the two words together, but I'll get over it. So what I was thinking about is, if it's true that there was some kind of situation happening and Tylee was involved in a quote-unquote scuffle, how much did she know? And the next obvious question would then be, is that why she met her fate in such a way? Because so far there's no evidence that her parents or her mom physically had something to do with her death, but she definitely had something to do with the deaths. But we'll get to that.
5 people were there that morning: Alex, Lori, Charles and Lori's adopted son, JJ, who's 7, and Lori's daughter, Tylee, who is 17.
An argument started between Lori and Charles. Alex, who is staying there, comes out of his room. Tylee comes out of the room. There's an argument with Tylee. Alex claims that Charles hit him in the head with a bat. Alex goes back into his room, gets a gun, comes out and says that Charles came at him, and he shoots Charles.
Chandler police say the initial indications are that the shooting was justified.
The evidence still points to
The evidence
self-defense.
still points to self-defense in this case. That is correct, as far as the Chandler Police Department investigation goes.
But there is more to this story, and at this point, Chandler police are just scratching the surface.
Are your detectives aware that there might have been a money motive involved in this?
Not that I'm aware of. It's the first I'm hearing about it.
Maybe that there was a life insurance policy on Charles Vallow?
Nothing in our report, basically, from what I've read and what I've talked to detectives, has that information that I'm aware of.
After the shooting, Lori, Alex, Tylee, and JJ don't stick around Chandler much longer. They pack up and at the end of August move to Rexburg, Idaho. Rexburg is a very small, tight-knit town. It's a community where everyone attends the same church. Everyone is connected in some way. It seems like the perfect place to start over. But something strange happens shortly after Alex, Lori, and her children arrive in town. After just 1 week, Tylee disappears. 2 weeks later, JJ vanishes. And in this new town, nobody seems to notice. Well, almost nobody. But we'll get to that in a moment. Meantime, Lori has a new love interest, a man named Chad Daybell. He is an author of what's called doomsday books, and he claims to be some sort of visionary, that he has seen and spoken to Jesus Christ about the second coming of Jesus Christ, and Lori kind of attracts to that. But there's one problem.
I don't know if they cover this part, but they also thought they were part of the 144,000, and I want to say that that's the people that get saved either by getting raptured or something to that effect. So they really thought they were special, and eventually they started saying things that they had godlike powers and that they were able to take away human life. I think was one of the comments that they said they had made. So pretty delusional in my opinion, pretty crazy. Jinxie asked, is that a cult? They are part of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. The only reason I even know about them is because I recall as a kid seeing commercials having to do with them somehow. Maybe they were asking for donations. I can't really recall. I just know that they're like hardcore Christian, but they have their own like sector. It's like they're their own type of Jesus sector apart from like the Catholics and then like the fundamental Christians and I'm sure others that are out there. But in their case, they really thought like the end of the world was nigh and they were going to be saved, and that they had this power to tell if somebody was turning into a zombie, And according to them, the kids were turning into zombies. And according to them, that's why maybe something happened to them, because I don't think they've yet to admit that they had anything to do with their deaths, even though they've got them lying about their location. They clearly, by now we know they clearly knew where they were at. They were lying, saying that they were at a friend's house and that they were with their grandparents when it was actually the grandparents who were looking for them. It was a lot of lies that was going on at the beginning of this case. But like the cult part, like that's the part that fascinates people a lot. I noticed in the comment sections and stuff on these types of videos. People want to know more, and I would not be surprised if at some point I get my hands on his books just so I could read them to try to understand a little bit more about what was going on in his mind. It will never justify what they did to the children, ever, but it is a little kind of side quest that I might want to take someday when it comes to this case. But let's keep watching.
With Chad, he's married, until another strange thing happens. On October 19th, Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, passes away in her sleep.
There was a number of issues that just didn't look right.
2 weeks.
Alright, so far we have these two on the screen, which is Lori Vallow on the right and Chad Daybell on the left. And they were both married to other people when they met. And their spouses mysteriously passed away. Ultimately, they mysteriously passed away, and then they had their past to be together. And then what it looks like is that they wanted to get rid of the children, and that way they could be together. Because while the children were missing, they were getting married and having a honeymoon in Hawaii, and it appeared that they had not a care in the world. So that's just kind of what I think when I try to get into their heads as far as how like their behavior has been. It's been pretty crazy. I've never seen another case like this. All right, let's keep watching.
Weeks later, with Lori's husband out of the picture and Chad's wife gone, Chad and Lori are married, but their troubles are just beginning.
All we want is to know where those kids are. That's it.
Larry and Kay Woodcock had been trying to get a hold of Tylee and JJ for a month. They are JJ's biological grandparents, and Kay is Charles Vallow's sister. She was suspicious about what happened to Charles, and now they suspect something is wrong in Rexburg.
She was a good mama. She was a great mama. But about 2.5, 3 years ago, I saw a change in her, and I told Kay. I said, there's something going on.
And she became a monster, just a monster.
Do you wonder what changed and why she ended up doing what she did?
Why is the question on all of these issues about every aspect of this case. It's just so baffling. Yeah.
Rich Robertson is a private investigator who Kay and Larry hired to find the children. And as a result, he learned a lot about Lori and Chad and their bizarre behavior.
Would you categorize or characterize what they were doing as being cult-like?
I'm not sure I see this as a cult. It may have been a cult that was forming, but it wasn't a very big following. And unlike the kind of cult that people think of most of the time, they didn't have a compound, they didn't have a large group of people that were separating themselves from society and controlling their thoughts and beliefs. I mean, all these kinds of things that you typically think of when you think of a cult weren't quite there.
But for now, Rich Robertson's main focus is finding those kids.
So we started looking for the kids and didn't see them. And at that point is when Kay Woodcock contacted the Rexburg police and asked for a welfare check. And it was that welfare check that changed everything.
Lori, I'm Lieutenant Vallow, Police Department. How are you? You got a minute? So JJ will be where?
He's in Arizona. She knows damn well he is not in Arizona. So listen to the lies that she's telling at this point, because this is basically the beginning of trying to legitimately find the children.
Who's he with in Arizona?
He's with one of my friends in Arizona.
This is audio from that encounter.
We moved up here in September. My daughter to go to BYUI.
She's saying that, hey Preach, how's it going? Hope we're doing good. I've been working a lot, but I got a little bit of time off this weekend and I got caught up in some stuff and I made a playlist and I'm trying to like work my way through it. I'm still finding the art of time management in my own case. But I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yes, Tylee was not in school. That was another lie.
Your daughter goes to BYU?
Yeah.
Does she live here?
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 detectives.
Mm-hmm. Listen to how she lies.
So you're trying to...
Looking for you a little while ago.
Oh, because I was at the store.
And they ran into probably one of your brothers in
My
the back
brother
here.
and his friend, probably.
Oh,
He's
who's
been
that?
moving. Chad.
Chad from around here?
Mm-hmm.
Chad, the D-A-Y-B-E-L-O? He's one passed away.
He already was known. So he was like, Chad Daybell? And she's like, again, with the little mousy, Like that wasn't really a yes, but that wasn't really a no. It was a I'm sorry. Anyways, so the cop was like, didn't his wife recently pass away? Now remember, I just mentioned that their spouses had mysteriously passed away. So even the cop, like, who apparently knew them somewhat, was like, he's with you already? Like, didn't that just happen? Like, their radars were already, like, you know, pinging or whatever. Like, they were getting a hint based on their behavior, because it is pretty wacky in my opinion.
3 statements, 3 lies. JJ is not in Arizona with a friend. Tylee is not attending BYU Idaho. Both kids have been missing for weeks. And Lori tells police Chad Daybell is her brother's friend. At this point, she's already married to him.
The whole thing blew up at the point when Lori Vallow lied to the Rexburg police that day.
But when the police returned to Lori's apartment, she's gone. At this point, Rexburg police go public about JJ and Tylee.
They're good kids. They don't deserve this.
But now, it's not just the kids who are missing. Lori and Chad have disappeared as well. And there's another surprise in store. Lori's brother Alex Cox, the last remaining witness who may be able to shed light on Charles Vallow's death and the missing kids.
What is your emergency?
I have a older male here named Alex. He just passed out here on my bathroom.
Alex abruptly collapses at his home in Gilbert and dies in December.
Alex has always been this kind of mystery to me. My overarching question on all of this is why? And why Alex? Why was Alex so involved in protecting Lori to the extent he did, to the point of committing crimes?
She probably had him brainwashed. He probably believed in the same stuff that they were into. Yeah, Alex was her brother. And it looks like he was the one that was carrying out these murders so that Chad and Lori could be together. Is pretty much what all this led up to, was for them to get married and be together. So if Alex is as loony, sorry to say, as Lori and Chad, and if he's actually believing in this stuff, who knows, maybe they were playing him. Maybe he was playing them. Like, who knows? I wish I knew like every single detail to the story, but based off of what I've been seeing, he was the one that killed Chad. Who knows what happened with Chad's wife? I'm guessing Chad had something to do with that. And then it's possible that Alex also murdered the children. But we'll probably get to that part soon.
We have 2 missing children and a growing number of dead adults, all of them tied to Lori Vallow. Now she and her new husband have split town.
Coming up next, authorities catch up to the newlyweds on an island paradise where they're living like teenagers on the run. And we put a microscope on Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox. Is he the family hitman? And was he himself murdered? The answers when we come back.
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, True Crime.
That's a really good question. How did Alex die? Like, is it possible he killed himself? We would have to find out what the autopsy report says as far as like cause of death and stuff, but I mean, with all the deaths that are happening, it would just be what, a coincidence, or like what, karma, something that how it is that he possibly murdered all these people and then he himself ends up dying. It's so mysterious.
Crime Arizona, the Lori Vallow case.
The news should do this more often. Just have like deep dives of like stories. I really like how they did this.
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, True Crime Arizona, the Lori Vallow case.
Lori Vallow's 2 children have disappeared. Now she and her new husband have also vanished.
But in this day and age, it's hard to stay out of sight for long, and the press, the police, and the growing public obsession catch up with them. The beautiful, relaxing beaches of Hawaii. They have attracted visitors for literally thousands of years. And in December of 2019, 2 of those visitors were Lori Vallow and her new husband, Chad Daybell. Lori and Chad just seem to be vacationing on a beach while everyone else is trying to find JJ and Tylee. And they're not answering any questions. The couple managed to stay off the radar for about a month, but then word gets out about who they are, and nobody sees Tylee and JJ anywhere.
Why have you guys been in Hawaii for so long?
We knocked on their door, they didn't answer, but we could tell that the lights were on in the condo. But by that point, the neighbors were telling us, yeah, we actually haven't seen them in a couple days now.
It's a totally bizarre story, and I just hope they find those children.
But time is running out.
Got a search warrant for you guys.
Police execute a search warrant looking for any evidence the kids are in Hawaii. Back in Rexburg, Kay and Larry Woodcock.
I'm not sure if they mentioned this part, but I think by this point, they had a deadline to present the children in court, and they just skipped out on it. I want to say that part has already happened, and up until like what we're watching now, because the search warrant, that has to mean that she had already skipped the deadline, and then they served her with the search warrant to check her stuff to try to find the kids or try to find out what happened.
Convince a judge to order Lori to produce the children, or at least prove they're okay.
Bring the kids.
That part.
That's it. Bring them. That's all we need to know. I don't care to ask her anything. I don't care.
Show me they're alive.
That's it. That's it.
Show me they're alive.
I remember seeing Larry the morning that the kids were supposed to show up.
Today is the day, y'all.
And Kay, a little bit more hard-headed, but still hopeful. And as the day goes on and we're kind of realizing, okay, she's not showing up.
She's not going to do anything unless she is absolutely forced to do it.
The more I got to know Kay and Larry, the more I could see their frustration growing and their hope dwindling.
This comes to a head at the end of February. Lori and Chad are in Hawaii, and they're living like 2 teenagers on the run, enjoying every day at the beach. And then that comes to an end. Lori is taken into custody and put in jail in Hawaii because she failed to produce the kids as she was supposed to.
She's aware of the charges.
Lori is held on $5 million bond and extradited back to Idaho to face charges of ignoring a court order and child abandonment.
Welcome back, Lori.
The day she arrives in Rexburg, she's in shackles, wearing a bulletproof vest.
I see the...
They're like, welcome back, Lori. She's in shackles. And then real quick, they ask her, where are the kids? Oh, sorry, but that was pretty funny. Because I don't like Lori. And it almost seems like the reporters were heckling her. So I found that a little bit humorous as well.
SUV with Lori coming toward me, and it just stops right in front of me. Lori, where are your kids? How come you're not telling anybody where your kids are? And she looked over at me, and then she just slowly looked away and covered her face.
Outside the courthouse, it's a circus. People make signs and t-shirts with messages of hope.
Jinxie said they must be cuckoo. Imagine being able to sleep at night knowing you had all those people killed. And that's what I'm trying to get closer to understanding is, are they really that delusional that they believe that they were that special, that they were gonna get like saved, that the end of the world was really coming? Or is that like their story that they put together on their own and decided to play it out? Because so far it's kind of working. Lori Vallow is declared incompetent, and I'm pretty sure she's still saying that she's some kind of god and that the end of the world is nigh and that the kids were zombies and she had to, you know, kill them or whatever. And that's probably what the court is having an issue stating, that she's competent. If she's saying that stuff, that doesn't sound competent. But is she playing everybody, or is she really that delusional is like the question.
For JJ and Tylee.
We're just here for Tylee and JJ. We want to know where they're at, and we're hoping that they're alive and well.
Lori makes a brief appearance in court. Chad is in the public seating area. So are the Woodcocks. And then, nothing. 3 months go by with no breaks in the case. The kids are still missing. And then, on the morning of June 9th, 2020, investigators converge on Chad Daybell's property.
We get this tip from local reporters up in Idaho that, hey, it's happening. Today's the day. And all we know is that they're in the backyard. And we start to learn that they're digging in the backyard by this fire pit.
They had reason to believe that one or both of the kids were buried in the backyard.
Once they removed some soil, there was a black, what I can best describe as a black plastic bag with a round object protruding through the dirt.
This is Detective Ray Hermosillo testifying about what he found buried in Daybell's backyard.
It was what appeared to be a small body tightly wrapped in black plastic, covered in duct tape.
The body is JJ, and his sister Tylee's remains are found buried close by. Chad is arrested, and the mystery of the missing kids comes to a tragic and sad end.
I don't know how they were killed. I mean, the law enforcement still hasn't released a manner of death, so you don't know exactly how cruel it was in the manner that they died. But the disposal of their bodies was certainly an attempt to hide the crime.
What was it that led investigators to Chad Daybell's backyard that day? That's where Alex Cox comes back into the picture. He died 7 months before, but has become the key to the case.
And it turns out that it was Alex's cell phone. There were no eyewitnesses, nobody talked. It was cell phone tracking technology.
Now, of all the witnesses who were on the scene when Charles Vallow was killed in Chandler, only Lori is left.
Now we know Alex Cox is more than just Lori's brother. He's also come to be known as the family hitman, accused of assaulting estranged relatives, and now he's linked to the deaths of Tylee and JJ.
And let's not forget, he also shot Charles Vallow. Well, Alex also died before he could ever answer to the law.
Sometimes I call people as Mrs. Doubtfire.
And I'm guessing, I'm just speculating here, but that ultimately Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, like their get out of jail free card is going to be putting it on Alex since he's dead already anyways, and he already looks suspicious. So it's just very interesting to see how this case is going to play out and how far they're going to have to dig to get the whole story and punish the appropriate party for what happened. Because I still don't know what exactly happened. I just know that Alex, Lori, and Chad had something to do with it, between planning and executing what they did to the kids. And to the spouses. And he's not funny at all.
Could the funny man in the family also be the family's executioner? JJ and Tylee were buried in shallow graves in Chad Daybell's backyard, with evidence of a desperate attempt to conceal what was left.
Investigators were able to locate their bodies by using Alex's phone, which was pinging on a tower near Chad's home.
All of the death investigations linked to Lori and Chad are also tied to Alex, who is also now dead.
The timing of everything is peculiar, and it just makes you wonder what really happened and what were their goals.
What is the emergency?
I have a older male here named Alex. He just passed out here on my bathroom.
On December 12th, 2019, Alex dies in Gilbert. According to police reports, Alex's wife Zulema told investigators he hadn't been feeling well the last few days and went to Mexico to pick up prescriptions. Months go by before the autopsy results are released. The Maricopa County medical examiner determined he died of natural causes due to blood clots in his lungs.
There's different levels.
But I wonder if there's a way to cause blood clots in the lungs outside of it happening naturally. Because I don't think he died naturally. It's just too much of a coincidence, I think.
Of toxicological screens and testing, and they did a basic one, which is totally appropriate in this case. You know, obviously it doesn't seem so now that there's maybe some extenuating circumstances around it.
Dr. Frank Lavecchio practices medical toxicology and forensics, but is not connected to this case. He says Alex's autopsy was extensive, but there could be things that were missed simply because they didn't know to look for it.
It's nearly impossible to kill somebody with a toxin or a drug, okay, and not get caught, okay. However, if you don't look for it, you know, you're not going to find it.
Then comes the case of Tammy Daybell. She died in October 2019, while her husband of 29 years was spending time with Lori Vallow. The family declined an autopsy for the seemingly healthy mother of 5 and rushed to bury her in her hometown.
Hey, Emmanuel Briggs. See? I came through on my promise. I'm here. I was thinking about Emmanuel today. I was just like, you know what? I told him I was going to go live, and I'm going to go live because that's what I said. Peace, Emmanuel, peace.
Town in Utah. The day before Alex died, her body was exhumed.
You could still learn a lot from someone who's exhumed.
Hair follicles and fingernails, among other specimens, can be very telling to investigators. Her autopsy results have not been made public.
I went through a lot of years of this kind of hard stuff, and I was going to murder him. I was going to kill him.
This recording of Lori speaking to a church group was released, prompting detectives to take another look at Joseph Ryan's death. He's Lori's third husband and Tylee's biological dad. He died in 2018 from what appeared to be a heart attack. His body wasn't found until several weeks later.
If you were going...
That's wild. There's so much death around these people.
Going into this case, you have these 3 seemingly natural deaths. They all kind of sound similar in the fact that their heart just stopped. What would you look for?
Obviously, history is very important. You know, what meds were the patients on? But I think they probably are going to do an extensive drug screen. You know, the Cadillac of drug screens.
But those types of drug screens...
The Cadillac of drug screens.
Dr. Lavecchio says, cost thousands and thousands of dollars.
It's very...
Start a GoFundMe or whatever.
Hard to get away with murder. It's very hard to kill somebody with, you know, chemicals and drug, etc. But there are many things that are missed from drug screens.
Gilbert police have since closed Alex's death investigation.
Coming up next, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell are not charged with the murders of Tylee and JJ.
Will that change? And could Lori end up back here in Arizona to face charges in the death of her former husband, Charles Vallow?
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, True Crime Arizona, the Lori Vallow case.
So serious. Looks like there was a commercial break. Let me.
Vallow case.
Here we go.
Most of the attention in this case has been on the two missing children, Tylee and JJ, and rightfully so.
But the first serious charges against Lori Vallow may involve the death of her husband Charles here in Chandler.
It was originally investigated as a family fight turned shooting.
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law and I shot him in self-defense.
Alex Cox admitted to shooting and killing his sister's husband, Charles Vallow. But remember this from earlier?
Are you aware of any motive that Lori Vallow might have had to want her husband dead?
In our police report, in our investigation, at this point, we are not aware of any motive.
Turns out Chandler PD did start looking into a motive, a money motive.
Months before Charles died, it was pretty clear that he was afraid for his life.
Charles had something valuable, a life insurance policy worth $1 million, something Lori later admitted to police she wanted.
My husband, who we were married for 15 years, switched his life insurance policy to her, right?
To
his sister,
okay.
who got $1 million when he died, and we got nothing.
So Lori had a motive.
She was pissed. She sounded so pissed about that.
Means and opportunity.
The struggle is going to be whether there's enough evidence to prove that Alex Cox didn't do this purely in self-defense.
Private investigator Rich Robertson says one big problem is there are no witnesses left to interview.
Of all the people that were there that day, Lori's the only one who's still alive.
Charles Vallow, Alex Cox, Tylee, and JJ, all dead now. But listen to what Kim
and Chad Daybell's wife. That's 5 people.
Learned from Chandler PD.
One of the detectives investigating Charles Vallow's death told me that this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. We have Lori where we want her. She's not getting out of jail, so we're going to take our time, cross all of our T's, dot all of our I's to make sure that we can charge her in Charles's death. It's been 7 months since the last big break in this case. That's when detectives discovered the bodies of Tylee and
Facts, Jinxie, facts.
JJ.
What can we expect to happen next? Final thoughts from 2 reporters who have covered this case for more than a year.
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, True Crime Arizona, the Lori Vallow case.
Skipped ahead a little.
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, True Crime Arizona, the Lori Vallow case.
This case has a lot of characters and a lot of moving parts. Kim, you've covered all of the developments. What do we know about potential charges in the murder case of Tylee and JJ?
So the Idaho State prosecutor was actually heard on a recording telling Lori's sister that he plans to file conspiracy charges against Lori and Chad. So far, though, that hasn't happened yet.
Now, we've reported that Alex Cox died of natural causes, according to investigators. What about Tammy Daybell? That's Chad's previous wife.
Yeah, according to our affiliate in Idaho Falls, the Idaho Attorney General is looking at filing murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy charges.
Hi, Alicia. Are you modded? Yes. How are you? I missed you so much. I think I missed you more, Alicia. Keep in touch. I'll definitely IG you. I'll message you. I want to see how you're doing. How's the baby and everything? So we'll talk. We'll talk later. And Alan Crooks is here. Hey. Everyone's showing up. Awesome. We're covering the Lori Vallow situation. We just about done watching a timeline of the case. So if you have any questions, just let me know. I can answer probably just about anything, and anything I don't know, I can look up. So let's continue watching this, and then after that, we're gonna show the updates that we've had most recently.
Against Lori and Chad. As it relates to Tammy's death, again, that hasn't happened yet either.
Thank you for joining us for this Arizona's Family True Crime Arizona special, Lori Vallow.
Be sure to stick with us for the latest developments in this case.
I was gonna say her name and then I was like, oops, maybe I shouldn't do that. But since you brought that up, okay, good. I want to know how Asha is. But yes, yeah, work has been making me crazy. We'll commiserate another time about work, and we can talk all about it. We'll gab a little. All right, let's continue. This next clip is called "Family Voice Suspicions About Lori Vallow Daybell Accused in 4 Killings." This is courtesy of Local News 8. And this was posted July 28th. So I don't think that it's been that long since the last time I went live, but I wanted to go as far back to cover enough of the story so we could all be about the same page as far as the information goes. But let's watch this clip.
In continuing coverage of the Lori Vallow Daybell case, new court documents in Arizona show relatives of Vallow Daybell told investigators they were suspicious about her involvement in the death of her former husband, Charles Vallow, including one family member who told investigators that Lori said Charles needed to die because a demon had taken over his body. Charles was killed by...
You hear that? He needed to die because a demon had taken over the body. And I don't know, I can't recall who was here whenever I went live about the Matthew Coleman case, and he was a man from California who traveled with his children down to Mexico and he murdered them. And then he tried to cross the border back. He started saying a lot of the similar things, and I kind of questioned at that time, and I'm still there mentally. I'm wondering if this is some kind of like underground internet cult or something. Like, how is it that people from opposite sides of the country pretty much are in the same belief system more or less, and then saying the same crazy stuff that's actually leading them to murder? I would not be surprised if there is some kind of like cooperation happening, because it's just too many similarities. But who knows? I mean, coincidences do exist. But who knows? Hopefully we'll find out. Alright. Yes, get home safely, Alicia. It's important.
by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, in July of 2019 in what Cox said was self-defense. He died in December that same year from a heart attack. Vallow Daybell was charged last month with conspiring to commit murder in Charles's death. She, along with her husband, Chad Daybell, are facing similar charges here in Idaho for the deaths of Lori's children, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Chad is also charged with the murder of his former wife, Tammy. If you want to find more of these stories and follow this case, you can head to localnews8.com.
Tonight, we have new details in the case of the two kids who went missing from Chandler and then were found buried in their mom's new husband's backyard up in Idaho. Their mother, Lori Vallow, is charged in their deaths. She's also accused of conspiring to kill her former husband.
2 weeks ago, we told you about the 2,500 emails Chandler police released, giving us a better idea of what they were dealing with in this truly bizarre case. Kim Powell's been digging through all those documents ever since, and you've got some new nuggets for us tonight, Kim.
Yeah, and these emails are 2 years worth of detective work, and while some are completely redacted, others fill in some gaps in this investigation that we've been following. And there are emails between different agencies about what they've found on the key players in the missing kids case, and there are tips from family members about their concerns with Lori's behavior. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, like this one of 7-year-old JJ on a ride alone, taken within a few days after his sister Tylee disappeared. And this photo of Lori and Tylee on a beach, smiling. And then there's this one of JJ sitting on the couch in Rexburg, Idaho, on the last day he was seen alive. He was later found buried in those same red pajamas. All of these photos were found in Lori Vallow's iCloud account by detectives. It would be nearly a year after their disappearances before they were found buried in her new husband's backyard in Idaho. But new documents from the investigation show several law enforcement agencies piecing everything together even before the kids went missing.
She's lost her mind. I don't know how else to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being.
When he says LDS, he means the Church of the Latter-day Saints. And then he's going to talk about what she was saying, that she believes that she's a resurrected God, or I don't know what. Like, listen, I believe what he says here.
I don't know how else to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a God, and remember the 144,000. Jesus is coming next year.
That's Charles Vallow on Chandler police body camera footage from January 2019. Just a few months later, he was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, who at the time claimed self-defense. That's what started the investigation and the emails pouring in to detectives. Alex died in December 2019, but Lori is now facing a charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in Charles's death. Charles' sister Kay Woodcock wrote into detectives several times and helped officers track down information because she was worried about JJ's safety.
He's acting like that my son was in danger. I'm worried about JJ's safety and things.
But it wasn't just Kay writing in.
You heard that? Somebody was like, shh, like saying too much. What was going on in the household again? Let's hear that again. Let's hear what the lady on the right was shushing Lori about.
He's acting like that my son was in danger. I'm worried about JJ's safety and things.
But it wasn't just Kay.
That her son's life was in danger, and that somebody was talking about being worried about JJ and things. Emmanuel Briggs says not to disrespect anybody's faith, but that LDS is a weird bunch. I feel like I'm just speaking for myself at this time. If anybody wants to disagree, it's cool. This is just my feeling, my feelings. But I want to say that a lot of religious-based communities are a little strange to me, as it is, because I like people that think for themselves, that use their gut instincts, that call out the bullshit, you know. And in a lot of these communities, it's, I don't know, I'm just not vibing like anything with them for some reason. Like, I grew up in a church and I was not happy in that environment. I know right from wrong. Like, I don't need to go, like, okay, maybe I need to say less. I'll just say this one last thing before I keep going. But what I was gonna say is, like, I really don't feel like I'm an adult. I don't feel like I need anybody to tell me, like, right from wrong. Like, I have my own instincts, and I've done pretty good. I'm 38 years old and I'm still alive, and I've been alone for most of it. So, okay, I'm just gonna push play. Damn it.
A writing in. It was other family members. One of Lori's sisters-in-law wrote in explaining Lori's odd behavior months leading up to Charles's death. It said, Lori and Alex both think they are immortal beings. This is like a cult. Another photo found by investigators claims Alex was from multiple creations and his mission is to help Lori. Another anonymous email sent in to detectives explained Lori and Chad's way of thinking. It says Lori has been on 21 planets and Chad 31.
And once he was the Holy Ghost, you all. Lori has been on 21 planets. We don't even have 21 planets. Okay. And Chad 31. Now there's 31 planets. And once he was the Holy Ghost, because the Holy Ghost transforms into different people. I'm telling you, I try really hard to just stay away from like religious topics, anything having to do with like, you know, the agendas that are happening like in the media and all the hot topic like topics and stuff. But once in a while religion just slips in there and all of a sudden I'm just being a little bit too honest in my opinion. But it happens, it's my show. Emmanuel Brick says, I feel you. I've been a happy heathen since I was 25 and I'm doing okay. Honestly, like, I'm not even sure about some of the people that believe they're going to heaven, like, or the ones that believe they're going to hell. I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm gonna just leave it at that. But you definitely won't catch me like on a serious note saying stuff like I was some kind of goddess, like, you know, in another lifetime, and I was the creator of, like, maybe playing around. I definitely like have that sarcastic type of like humor in myself, but like it sounds like they're trying to be serious here. It's just crazy. It just brings up a lot of like thoughts in my mind, and my innie thoughts become outies. Alicia says that's so crack shit they're on. Maybe it's that hair on. Jinxie says, I hope death feels like we're sleeping. I love sleeping. Same. 100.
And once he was a holy ghost. This tipster also said Lori told a friend that she couldn't wait to have sex with Chad, and when she was with Chad, they would be having it 3 times a day. They also said Lori and
TMI. I have a photographic imagination. I didn't need to hear that. I didn't need to hear that part.
Chad would get up early to walk the track at BYU, Idaho together, holding hands and kissing. When Chad's wife became suspicious, Chad said she turned into a zombie, and then she suddenly died in her sleep. Chad is now charged for her murder.
Right.
And those are just a few of the emails in that document dump from Chandler Police. There are also emails from JJ's school here in the Valley, as well as maps showing how in...
Like, Amanda wants to keep working even after he's kicked the bucket. He's like, fuck that. I want to come back as a ghost so I can haunt people. Do you have a list? Tell me you have a list.
Investigators located JJ and Tylee's bodies in Chad's backyard. Nicole?
Yeah, so many twists and turns in this. Kim, what's next?
Yeah, right now Lori is in a state hospital getting mental health treatment after she was deemed incompetent to stand trial, so she'll be there for no more than 90 days. As for Chad Daybell, the clock is ticking for prosecutors to decide if they'll seek the death penalty in his case. They have until the second week of August.
Facts.
Okay, we'll be sure to keep an eye on this and keep you posted as we learn more. Kim, thank you.
Recently, definitely. All right, let's continue. Let's remove that one. Briggs has a huge list. All right. Well, listen. If I'm ever playing the Ouija board or whatever, and I contact you, just please be nice. I was always nice to you. Just kidding. Alright, the next clip is called Lori Vallow Daybell Case, a breakdown of evidence and 2,500 emails released by Chandler Police. And this was posted July 29th in courtesy of 12 News.
Uncovered pictures of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, including photos from when the kids were last seen alive.
It's all part of the multi-state investigation into their mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, accused of killing her 2 kids and conspiring to kill her late husband.
The I-Team's Erica Stapleton reviewed thousands of pages of evidence and joins us now with more. Erica?
Chandler Police releasing more than 2,500 emails, some showing how people raised red flags early on that Lori Vallow Daybell could be a threat to her family.
Lost her mind. I don't know how to say it.
In January 2019, Charles Vallow told Gilbert Police his then-wife Lori's doomsday religious beliefs were darkening.
She said, you're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers.
And that he and their kid...
That's crazy. Alright, so I'm playing a playlist, so I'm guessing, hoping that the next clip will play and then the next one. I have my ads turned off, so it shouldn't be a problem because I gotta go get my laundry. It's been about an hour, so I gotta go check up on that. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and just let the clip play, and then hopefully I'll be back before the next one starts. So enjoy.
Tylee and JJ could be in danger.
I don't know what she's going to do with them. I don't know if she's going to flee with them. She's going to hurt them.
Now emails show that Charles shared these concerns with JJ's school leaders in Gilbert too, noting he had to file an order of protection against his wife. At that point, in February 2019, the school told police they filed a report with Child Services to, quote, ensure we were doing our due diligence in protecting JJ. Later emails from the FBI say DCS had an open case with the family. DCS refused to answer the I-Team's questions about their involvement.
911, where is your emergency?
Less than 6 months later, in July, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, shot and killed Charles, according to Chandler police.
Is he hurt or is he alive?
Yeah, there's blood. He's not moving.
The emails now reveal that before his death, Charles reportedly told another relative that, quote, I think her and Alex are going to kill me, and that after his death, multiple tipsters told the FBI that Lori and Alex were responsible for killing Charles. Charles's sister, who is JJ's biological grandmother, shared her suspicions about Lori with police in the weeks following Charles's death, saying she was worried JJ wasn't safe with her. She shared messages from Lori in August 2019, telling her JJ couldn't stay with them and that she was moving the kids to Hawaii. But that was a lie. Lori would move the kids from Arizona to Idaho in September 2019. They'd disappear before the end of the month, and she'd marry Rexburg doomsday author Chad Daybell by November. The kids were found buried in Chad's backyard in June 2020.
State of Idaho versus Lori Noreen Vallow.
In Idaho, Lori and Chad are both facing first-degree murder charges in the kids' deaths, and additional charges connected to Chad's first wife Tammy's death. Lori is also facing a charge in Arizona for conspiring to kill Charles. Alex Cox can't face any potential charges because he died at his home in Gilbert, reportedly of natural causes.
Chad's trial is scheduled for later this year while Lori is under mental health evaluation. We're in the Alert Center. Erica Stapleton, 12 News.
Well, breaking news late this afternoon on a criminal case we've followed for months. The state of Idaho will seek the death penalty against a man suspected of killing 2 children and his former wife.
Chad Daybell and his current wife, Lori, are accused of killing all 3 and burying the children's bodies in Idaho. Lori is also accused of killing her ex-husband. She was found to be mentally incompetent and is being treated at a mental health facility. Chad Daybell's case is progressing, though. The so-called doomsday couple was preparing for the end of the world.
There is a new development tonight in the case against Chad Daybell. The state of Idaho is seeking the death penalty for the murders of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan.
Fox 13 News has been following the investigation and case from the very beginning. And tonight, Spencer Joseph joins us in studio to explain the next step by the prosecution. Spencer.
Good evening. The state of Idaho making this announcement today to inform Chad Daybell's defense ahead of the trial that they are seeking the death penalty. We spoke with both law enforcement experts as well as a defense attorney who have no direct involvement with the investigation or the case, but they analyze this development.
In our country, about 2/3 of the states still have the death penalty. Our federal government has a death penalty, but we really don't use it very often.
Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Greg.
What did I miss? Bro, she told me that I would have dipped. What part? Did I miss something?
Borders knows the Daybell case well.
Just the outrageous nature of the conduct, the multiple homicides, and all the other factors.
Adding up to the analysis.
If you are going to have a death penalty case in the state of Idaho, this case fits about as well as you could imagine.
It warrants the death penalty, I think.
Jim Winder, the former Salt Lake County sheriff, agrees, saying the multi-state law enforcement investigation worked very well to bring the case to this point.
Not only is it quantitatively impressive, there's been thousands and thousands of hours, but qualitatively.
But the death penalty adds a whole new layer.
There's so much more that the government needs to prove.
According to a document released Thursday, the state is seeking the death penalty for a number of reasons, including saying Daybell, quote, exhibited utter disregard for human life and, quote, exhibited the propensity to commit murder, which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society.
Those are what we call aggravating circumstances that allowed the state of Idaho to elevate a murder charge to a death penalty case.
However, this might be a negotiation tactic.
Sometimes prosecutors will announce that they're seeking the death penalty to encourage a defendant to come to the bargaining table.
Whatever the reason, this has been a long road.
And I know people were upset that Chad and Lori are traipsing around Hawaii, and they're clearly suspects in a double, now triple, now quadruple homicide. But the state of Idaho and later the state of Arizona just took their time, did their job correctly. Now they have them both in custody.
But for Skordas, he thinks this statement from the state of Idaho means
They're in it for the long haul. They're willing to spend the resources. They're willing to take the time. They're willing to do whatever they can to do what they feel is seek justice in this case.
Just into our newsroom, we have a statement from JJ's grandmother, Kay Woodcock, saying in part, quote, "We are pleased with the prosecution team's decision to seek the death penalty for Chad Daybell. We are thankful justice is moving forward," end quote. "We are pleased with the prosecution and team's decision," excuse me, that's part of the quote as well. Now,
oh, I see. Jinxie says when she told her first husband that she was going to kill him. Yeah, that's it. Like, why stick around for her to prove it? Alicia Trigg says that's why when people say off the wall shit, you should believe them. Sad, all these people are dead and this chick is in the nut house. That's true.
as continuing on for Lori, the part of this case that Lori Daybell is facing is a mental competency evaluation. But experts weighing in to that expect Idaho to seek the same punishment for her as well. In the newsroom, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Spencer, thank you. Before 1976, Idaho had 26 executions. Since that year, there have been just 3. Of the total 29 Idaho executions, there has only been 1 woman on death row.
Well, new development.
Damn. Sounds like Idaho got, I don't want to say soft, but a little more lenient, or because I doubt crime stopped. Alright, so it looks like you all saw like 2 videos without me. 3 of them maybe? Right? Remove. Guys, saw this one. Dang, I was gone for that long? I had no idea. Sorry guys. Alright, the next video clip is called Lori Vallow assigned death penalty qualified attorney. New motion file. And this was posted August 13th. I want to say I had already stopped kind of going live as frequently by then. This is courtesy of KSL News. So this is probably going to be a new update for me.
Developments, a new death penalty qualified attorney is representing Lori Vallow. Thus, as her original attorney is requesting to dismiss the grand jury indictment charging her in the deaths of her children and Chad Daybell's first wife. News specialist Carmen Mejia is looking into the case and whether or not this motion has any legs to stand on.
Law experts don't see a lot of merit to this motion to dismiss Lori Vallow's grand jury indictment. As a matter of fact, it could actually hurt the defense down the road.
A new death penalty certified attorney, James Archibald, is now representing Lori Vallow.
It's important that the attorneys know what they're doing.
Vallow is facing capital punishment, but while the law requires her to have 2 certified attorneys, the judge is keeping her attorney, Mark Means, as co-counsel. Criminal law professor Sam Newton, an experienced death penalty attorney, says a decision may be pending Vallow's psychological treatment.
And so what the judge is saying here is to Mr. Means is there's the possibility that Lori Vallow could waive that requirement.
Meanwhile, Means is moving full steam, requesting to dismiss Vallow's murder charges in the grand jury indictment since there's a stay in her case.
It's very, very unclear what Mr. Means is trying to argue, but that doesn't prevent the state from pursuing additional charges.
Today, Means filed another motion requesting Tammy Daybell's autopsy results and medical history, including, quote, psychological or depression records. Means alleges prosecutors aren't giving him proper access to evidence, saying in part, quote, the refusal to comply with bad faith and lack of professionalism is shocking. In one instance, Means claims a fruitless trip cost him more than $4,000 in legal fees. But
they're beefing. They're talking smack about each other.
While attorneys need proper access to evidence, Newton says weak motions raise red flags and could lead to problems down the road.
You're just opening a Pandora's box when you have unqualified attorneys or people who don't know.
Reporting for KSL 5 News, Garna Mejia.
Pandora's box. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue. We have 5 more clips to watch. The next one we're going to watch is called What We Learned from 48 Hours Report of Lori Vallow Case. I didn't see this 48 Hours episode. I will try to find it it sounds like something that maybe Hulu might have, but I'll find out because it sounds interesting. All right, so this was posted. Sorry, this was posted September 2nd, and courtesy of azfamily.
48 hours, we heard accusations that Lori Vallow is trying to frame her husband, Chad Daybell.
Vallow and Daybell are charged with murdering her two children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Daybell is also charged with murdering his former wife, Tammy.
And Chief Investigative Reporter Morgan Lowe has been working with CBS News on this episode of 48 Hours. Morgan, what are the most significant new details that came out tonight?
Brandon, the first is definitely what you mentioned, that Chad Daybell's kids say they believe Lori Vallow tried to frame their dad. That could be a window into Daybell's defense strategy. Here's a clip from the episode where that comes up.
What do you think really unfolded?
He was framed. This is his property. If there's bodies buried here, it would be attributed to him.
Who framed your father?
I think it's pretty clear it was Lori and Alex. Alex came and left for periods of time. We don't know what exactly he was doing.
The Alex she was referring to is Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox. Investigators found the kids' remains by tracking Alex's cell phone to Chad Daybell's backyard. Now, the next significant point is the kid's description of the scene when Tammy Daybell died. Chad is charged with murder in her death, but the kids say they believe it was natural causes.
She would get out of breath very quickly and would get very tired. And she started going to bed very early at night.
A lot of people think that your father didn't want an autopsy because he murdered her and didn't want to be caught. Do you buy that?
The narrative is that he was going, no, no, no autopsy. But he was standing there in complete shock, traumatized, letting us make the decision. If he was trying to hide something, I wouldn't leave something like that up to my kids if I was trying to hide something.
And the kids said they were the ones who told the medical examiner they did not want an autopsy, not their father. Everyone has reported that it was Chad who made that decision, which makes it look suspicious, like he was trying to hide something. But if you believe the kids, it was their call. Brandon?
And you know, Morgan, as we were talking during the...
But that's still suspicious, because daughter's saying, oh, like, I wouldn't leave it up to my kids if I had done something and risk, you know, the right information getting out or whatever. But that's actually still perfect, because he could say, I'm not the one who made the decisions, my kids were. So if I would have done it, don't you think I would have been more involved in trying to block anything from happening? So I really don't buy like their story there.
6:30 show, something's up here, because now it seems that Chad's kids are turning against Lori Vallow, who is still married to Chad Daybell. And I guess the real question is does Chad Daybell going to put the onus on Lori Vallow when it comes inside the court to save himself from any kind of corporate punishment? Lori Vallow also faces charges here related to the murder of her former husband, Charles Vallow. Is she ever going to make it back here to stand trial?
Yeah, Lori Vallow has been deemed incompetent to stand trial in Idaho, for now at least. And that does not prevent prosecutors here from trying to extradite her to stand trial here. But in the meantime, realistically, that would be an extraordinary move by prosecutors in Maricopa County.
Sorry, I agree with Alicia Trake here. She says them kids don't sound right. No, they sound like they're reaching, trying to protect their dad, but I feel maybe deep down inside they know that he's probably capable of doing something awful. They just don't want to, you know, they don't want to put that out there because they're trying to be loyal to their family member, to their dad.
Vallow's attorneys could object, and she would also likely undergo a mental evaluation here. But it is possible, Brandon.
And just one last final question. How long do you think this is going to play out? Is this going to be like months? Is it going to be years inside of a courtroom?
So probably at least a year for Chad to stand trial. Could be even longer for Lori because she's going through this competency situation.
Lots of...
Damn, that's too bad. We're going to be here for a while, y'all, covering this. But I'm in for it, so I'm not giving this story up at all. All right, So the next clip we're about to watch, and we're down to our last 4 clips for today, is called Lori Vallow Daybell Still Incompetent for Trial. Chad Daybell November trial delayed, and this was posted September 8th and courtesy of Local News 8.
We may not see a start to the murder trial for Chad and Lori Daybell this year. Judge Stephen W. Boyce and lawyers on both sides held a status hearing this afternoon. The top issue is a September 1st progress report on Lori Vallow Daybell's competency to stand trial. The judge ruled Vallow Daybell is not ready and stayed the case for an additional 180 days. He also scheduled a change of venue hearing for October 8th. And finally, in light of some unresolved motions, unsubmitted grand jury transcripts, along with other discovery issues, Judge Boyce also vacated the November 8th trial start date for Chad Daybell.
All right, before we continue on, let's delete that from the playlist. And the next clip is called Lori Vallow to stay in state hospital for longer duration. And this is courtesy of azfamily, and this was posted September 8th. Alicia says, what children make adults decision like that? They probably wanted to be with their dad, and that's why they lied. Good point. It's very true.
The former Chandler mother accused of killing her own 2 children and conspiring in the killings of 2 other people will be staying in a state hospital even longer. At the same time, Lori Vallow's husband, Chad Daybell, who's accused in the same crimes, is now asking to be separated from her case. Kim Powell's been staying on top of this story for us from the very beginning and is live now to break down the new developments. Kim?
Yeah, Lori Vallow has to understand the charges against her before she goes to trial. Doctors sent the court a progress report as she's been in the hospital since June, and now they've asked for more time. Just one of the many reasons this isn't going to trial anytime soon.
The defendant, Ms. Vallow, is still not competent to proceed with the proceedings in this case.
Lori Vallow has been getting restorative treatment since June and will be there for another half a year.
Doctors are trained to look at the defendant, do various tests to see whether or not they are faking it, or are they really not competent, and they're mentally not competent to stand trial.
Defense attorney Benjamin Taylor, not affiliated with the case, says this could go on for a while.
If she is not restored in the future, the judge could possibly dismiss this case because she's not competent to stand trial.
However, a doctor said in court documents from her competency finding in June, they believed Lori could be mentally restored. The judge says the 180 days can be shortened if the doctor submits another progress report before the deadline. Meanwhile, Chad Daybell, Lori's husband, sat next to his attorney at the court hearing today. Shortly after, they filed a motion of severance.
It's normal for a defense attorney to try to separate their client away from the bigger bad actor.
The judge ruled the newlyweds as co-defendants last year. Taylor says if the defense wants to change that, they'll have to show why.
If the two
planning to take that a step further. Jared?
Kim, so where do we go from here? So many moving parts. The trial is supposed to go ahead just about 2 months from today. Has that changed?
Yeah, today the judge said that will need to be vacated for a few reasons. One being the motion for severance, but also they're trying to get a change of venue because of how well known this case is. So that's going to be rescheduled. As for Lori, everything involving her case is on pause.
Yeah, ongoing national publicity for this case. Kim Powell.
Seriously, this case is huge. All right, let's continue. And I wanted to mention real quick that next time I go live, I will, depending on like time issues, I'll be covering Suzanne Morphew and the Camelback Mountain death and Kristen Smart, and I want to say there was one more. I believe, Tristan Bailey. So we still have some stories to update before we can start, or before I am going to want to start new stories. Alright, so this next clip is called Lori Vallow Trial Delayed 6 Months for Mental Health Treatment, and this courtesy of Fox 10 Phoenix. And this was posted September 9th.
Delay in the case against Lori Daybell, the woman accused of murdering her 2 children, and it could be 6 months before her case goes to court. So yesterday, an Idaho judge, that is, ruled her case will be delayed for an additional 180 days as she undergoes mental health treatment. Lori's husband, Chad Daybell, also had a hearing yesterday. Daybell's attorney asking the judge to separate the two cases, saying his client won't have a fair and impartial trial. His trial was set to start in November, but a judge pushed it back. The judge is expected to announce a new start date in that hearing next month. Daybell and Vallow are accused of murdering Lori's two children, who she moved with from Arizona to Idaho in 2019.
A very quick hearing today for the case.
Sorry, pause. I would be okay personally if they separated the cases, because I feel that we would get more information. Maybe not too sure. All right, and the next clip is called Chad Daybell in Court Monday, and this was posted September 20th, which was a couple days ago, and courtesy of Local News 8, and that's going to be a wrap for today, everyone. Let's watch.
A very quick hearing today for the case of Chad Daybell. Daybell did not appear in person. Rather, his attorney, John Pryor, stood in for him. Judge Stephen Boyce called for continuance regarding a DNA motion. We were not provided information on the protective order motion since that part of the case has been sealed. Daybell faces murder charges in connection with the deaths of Lori Vallow's two children, Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow. He is also charged with the murder of his former wife, Tammy Daybell, who died a few weeks before Chad and Lori married.
That's crazy. This story has been crazy since day one, and I expect the crazy to get even crazier as time goes on. That's going to be a wrap for today, everybody. I really do appreciate everyone that was here. I don't know if you were here earlier. I don't know who is here right now, but I did decide that what I want to do is, even if I am working, I do want to set aside a block of time to cover stories and things like that. So whereas the plan before was to try to get some time off, not time off, like that sounds like days at a time, but like maybe a day off or something, and then catch up to some stories and try to get the new ones out there. I think what I'll try to do is every day, or at least every other day, go live and just do a little at a time, and then we'll get through it that way, as far as like the updates go, and then moving on to the news stories. So thank you very much, everyone. Alan Crooks, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Jean C, welcome back. Danielle Williams, as always. Alicia Trigg, Emmanuel Briggs, it was so good to see you all. If I missed anybody, I apologize. I didn't do it on purpose. Oh yeah, Preach was here earlier. That was awesome. It was so nice to see him again. Alright, so everybody, thank you very much. Let me go ahead and stop sharing the screen. I don't know what's up with my dog. I hear a sound. Alright, and we will wrap things up with the end screen. Or my end. It's not an end title, is it? Alright, it's this. Alright, thanks everyone, and I will see you all soon. Peace.